Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you guys for coming out this afternoon. I have to say myself, having done this for some time, it's a pretty awesome thing to see all of us together. Just to give context to everything, I'm Idaho Secretary of State Phil McGrane, but behind me are the real election officials who are pulling off this historic, both national and state election. Behind me are the county clerks throughout the state. They're the ones who are working hard on the ground to make sure that ballots are getting out, that voters are getting registered, and really just ensuring the entire election process comes together. Our elections would not work if we didn't work together as a team. And I think that today, us coming together is a sign of exactly that. There's been so many questions regarding elections over the past 4 years and beyond, and one of the things we wanted to do was to come together as a group to reiterate to Idahoans our commitment to the integrity, the security, and the accessibility of our elections. And that's what we're really here to do today. And I think I'm very thankful for all of my peers. As the chief election officials in their communities, as the chief election official for the state, this really is an important part of the process. And I just can't thank them enough for the work that they do day in and day out. It's important to note this election is already underway. We've already have voters in Idaho who have cast ballots, and we want to ensure all Idahoans that they can have confidence that their vote counts. And so today, one of the things that we wanted to share was our commitment to secure and accessible elections. And as you'll see, we have each signed a letter to Idahoans really committing to that point. And I just want to read our letter for a moment. Dear fellow Idahoans, as the elected leaders responsible for conducting elections in every corner of our great state, we are united in a shared commitment to ensuring the accessibility, integrity, and security of Idaho's elections. While each county in Idaho may differ in size and geography and population, one thing remains constant: your right to a secure and transparent election process. No matter where you cast your ballot, whether it's in Boundary County, Bear Lake County, or anywhere in between, you can rest assured that the same principles guide us. We are proud to uphold these 12 principles of Idaho's elections, which pledge that every eligible Idaho voter has access to the voting process, that strict security protocols protect our elections, and that the outcomes are accurate, timely, and trustworthy. This pledge represents our ongoing dedication to maintaining the highest standards in election administration, so you can always trust the process, no matter where you live. It is our privilege to serve as the stewards of democracy, and we take that responsibility seriously. Our elections belong to all Idahoans, and we will continue working to uphold your trust in this vital process. And so, as you can appreciate, I want to add my signature as the final signature. I am thrilled to say that all of Idaho's 44 county clerks have signed on to this letter. Now, just to reaffirm our commitment to Idahoans, we want to highlight the 12 principles that are applicable to all of Idaho's elections. And to do that, I want to share this time with some of the other county leaders who lead our elections throughout the state. And so, to highlight first and foremost that voting in Idaho is easy, I want to turn it over to Cherie Sprague, the Power County Clerk. Cherie?
Thank you, Secretary McGrane. I'm so proud to be able to serve under such leadership that McGrane and his team bring. Registering to vote is so easy under his leadership. You can go online at VoteIdaho.gov, you can come to the county clerk's office, or you can vote and register at the voting polls. Can't speak today. Voter information pamphlets will be arriving in your mailbox if you haven't already seen them. That will give every Idaho household a detailed information of the major issues on the ballot. Personalized sample ballots can be brought up if you go to VoteIdaho.gov and type in your name and your date of birth. It will let you look at what your ballot's going to look like before you ever have to leave your house. We have many options to vote in Idaho that make it safe and secure. You can vote at the polls on Election Day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. You can early vote in person at your clerk's office, and you can absentee vote by filling out a request and sending it to the clerk's office. I'm really proud of the work that Secretary McGrane and his team have done to afford better accessibility to our Uwakava voters by going with the Democracy Live process, in which they can get easier access to get their ballots and get them back to us in a timely manner. Thank you so much for your work, Secretary McGrane.
Thank you. Thank you, Clerk Sprague. Not just making voting easy is important, it's also just as important to ensure the security of our process. And I'm very proud to introduce the Nez Perce County Clerk and one of our most experienced people in the elections in Idaho, Patty Weeks.
Thank you. Counties' election departments have had secured elections for Idahoans for many, many years. How do we do that? Well, we look, we lock, and we log. What does that mean? We look at voter ID to make sure it fits within the Idaho law. We look at signatures when absentee ballot requests come in and compare them. When the ballots then come in, we look at those signatures and match them again. We lock and track. We lock our ballots, we lock our equipment. We log ballot access, we log activities, we log our locks. Be assured, Idaho elections have a tradition of security, and we will continue to look, lock, and log for you.
Thank you, Patty. And finally, I want to highlight that Idaho's elections are accurate. And I can't think of a better person to do that. One of the things our state does and our office leads is post-election audits after each election. And one of the county clerks who has experienced those audits now numerous times is the Bannock County Clerk, Jason Dixon, who's also the president of the Idaho Association of County Clerks and Recorders. Jason.
Thank you very much. To start with, I'd like to say that any voting system that is implemented in Idaho has been vetted and tested by outside sources prior to being approved by the Secretary of State's office for use for any of our county clerks in Idaho. Prior to something that I was surprised to find that most people don't know, prior to every single election, there is logic and accuracy testing of those machines prior to every single election to make sure that the machines that have been vetted and tested are still working accurately. And that happens at every single election. And last, as Secretary McGrane stated, my county has been randomly selected for a post-election audit multiple times. And we have found that to be an absolutely excellent experience as we work with the Secretary of State's staff to hand count a sample portion of our election results. It is a wonderful experience, and it proves only how accurate we are, as we have only ever been off in multiple audits by one ballot, which is fantastic. It's a great experience. I know many of my fellow clerks from around the state that haven't been randomly selected for an audit yet are actually jealous and would prefer that they could get an audit. They want this to happen to prove our accuracy, as it is second to none in the whole nation. We are doing things right in Idaho, and we stand behind that statement. And we would love to prove it with these audits that the Secretary is doing. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Jason. I think more than anything, we really want to use this as an opportunity headed into the November 5th election, not only to encourage Idahoans to vote, but to vote with confidence. You have dedicated election officials standing behind me who are absolutely committed to Idahoans to make sure that they can have confidence in their vote, that they can trust the process and know not only their vote will count, but every other vote will count, and that the outcomes of our elections should stand up across the entire nation. These 12 principles guide us all. Everywhere from Clark County to Ada County, we will be following these same steps. And so it really is a privilege for us to come together to reassure Idahoans headed into this important election that they can have confidence. And so thank you all for coming this afternoon. Thank you guys. Because we're here, I'll open it up to any questions if anybody has any. I'll let Jason answer all of them. Any? Laura, go for it. This really is a proactive effort on our part to share one of the things, and I think Clerk Dixon said it well. There are common things that we do across the entire state that many Idahoans aren't aware of. Perfect examples of those are that we have photo ID requirements. To register to vote, you must show photo ID in this state. Every voter, when they head to the polls, will be asked to show their ID. Every vote that is cast will be cast and have a paper record. When we do those post-election audits or we do a recount, we actually refer back to the original paper record, not to the machines, to verify that the election is accurate. Also, our voting systems are never connected to the internet. These are really common sense practices that we put in place no matter what county you're in to make sure that the system works well. And so this really is, in response to all the questions, I can tell you everyone here can attest. They've answered questions from their constituents over the past couple of years about what we're doing, what systems we're using, how we're tracking and logging, like Patty Weeks said. And this really is to highlight the work as we head into this important election. All right, thank you guys very much. Thank you guys for coming out this afternoon. Thank you guys.